The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Hi, welcome to Living in Fall River with Linda and Laura.
Hello.
And nice to be back here. This month we've kind of hit some veterans topics, considering we have so many veterans living in Fall River. So today we have as our guest the one and only Dawn Trahan. And Dawn runs the Veterans Kitchen housed at Corky Row, and meals are served every Wednesday. Dawn, welcome.
Well, live and in person.
Nice to be here.
Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I've been doing the Veterans Kitchen now it'll be our 4th year, actually.
Wow.
I started, though, on Pine Street.
Mm-hmm.
It actually was, a group of us got together and we decided that we were going to do a food drive. So we went, we were brainstorming who we were going to do it for. And, people were like, oh, our homeless. And I'm like, well, this organization takes care of them, that organization. I said, what about our veterans? I'm like, they never ask for anything. So we raised over, the first year we did it, we raised over like 2,000 pounds of food for them and donated it to Pine Street, and I never left there. I was like, it was like being in the Bermuda Triangle. I just stood. And then I just started cooking there. And then finally, Ray Haig offered for us to go into a bigger place and offered us the Corky Row Club. I talked
Because
it
you
over.
were getting so many more people that they couldn't fit there. Wow.
The first Christmas that we did on Pine Street, the place was packed. It was just packed. So we were just too big. And he started off with $60 in gift cards and said, basically, like, here you go, good luck, and it was hard at first, people didn't realize where I went. Then when they saw the Facebook page and stuff, they said, well, there you are. And then, the donations came in. Some of our veterans are actually our volunteers. We have a lot of widows from veterans that are also our volunteers, and we have our chefs. And
this is, I'm going to jump in here because this is an organization that's solely run by volunteerism. It's just absolutely your chefs, yourself, your volunteers. It is, and this is an amazing, this is just not thrown together. They have such a program that they put together. They serve so many veterans. It's absolutely amazing. I don't know how you do it. And you got like 5-star meals coming out of that kitchen. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of brainstorming on what we're going to do on a week-to-week basis. Like you said, we run it's all volunteers, so I can't ask for them to, work any harder than what they already do. What aggravates me is I wish we could open more.
Yeah.
There's the younger veterans that some of them still work, and we would like to, open like the same day, but like for later hours. Just
so
so
to
they
serve 2
can,
meals.
So we could serve 2 meals, and that way they can actually have access to a free meal as well.
I think that's a great idea because right now you serve lunch during the day and the place is packed.
Mm-hmm.
It is packed with veterans, but you're right, the younger generation are working, have families, and could actually come in the evening if you were open.
But for that to happen, it also takes different set of volunteers.
Yeah.
I can't ask our volunteers, hey, can you stay now for the rest of the day because I want from 6 to 8. I want, I need you guys to help with, the next shift. So.
And there's other things even besides the food. Sometimes there's pallets that come in of different canned goods. so people can take those on their way out. So if they have extra, they give it to the veterans to take.
Yep.
Clothing, people bring in clothing, so there's clothing available. Sometimes different food pantries, like Angels Anonymous, they dropped off some stuff. People that own fisheries have brought fresh
Timmy's brought
fish
stuff,
in the
yeah.
past. You know, and other things that people donate. How do people get in touch with you to donate, Dawn?
They usually just call my phone. My phone number is 774-526-0611. Or they message the Veterans Kitchen page that's on Facebook. Or usually they just pop in, you know, on Wednesdays or Tuesdays when we're there prep cooking, and, you know, they'll pop in and say, hey, I have, you know, whatever, will you take it? And we always say, absolutely, we know somebody that, you know, could use this.
That's important why Linda and I wanted to have you on this week, because not a lot of, well, a lot of people know because a lot of people go, but there's so many more people that do not know about it and that would love to donate to it and be able to go and eat and be a part of it too. It's you're absolutely right. It is so much more than just feeding them that time. First of all, it takes a lot of work. It's a massive operation. You're there the day before. You're prepping the food. You have to store all of the donations. You have to put away the donations. I mean, it's a massive undertaking that you're doing. And let me just say, you do it in such a dignified manner. And the quality of service and the camaraderie that goes on in those halls and when you're feeding them, it's very heartwarming to me. To see that. And I don't get to go as often as Linda goes, but the stories that she says, it's amazing to see what you're doing. You're not only providing a meal, you're providing relationships and a social outlet for some of these veterans, and it's so important.
There is a lot of camaraderie that goes on. There is a gentleman there who is a painter, and he has painted portraits of all of the people that go to the Vets Kitchen.
Yeah.
He has painted one of Laura, he did one of me, he did one of you, he did one of my daughter. I mean, he's done everybody. He did Billy, he did Mary, he did everybody. And they're hung up at the Vets Kitchen. And he is so proud of what he does. He does a really great job.
does.
And he's so happy to share his talent. And he comes in, he brings his dog. People will come in and they'll have their puppy with them.
Yeah.
You know, dogs are allowed. I mean, I haven't seen any huge dogs there. Nobody comes in with, you know, massive dogs.
There is one female veteran at time to time that does come in. She has a black lab,
Oh, yeah, that one
you
I've
know.
seen.
But yeah, no, it's usually Joe brings his little dog in.
Yeah,
and
he does. And Joe does a great job.
He does a great job, and he's actually self-taught.
Yeah.
So he never took any classes or anything. He's self-taught.
And then when you don't see somebody there for a week or two, and then they come back, hey, where were you? Are you okay? Well, my daughter got sick, and I had to travel out to see her, and now so you kind of know what people's routines are. And then you hear from the veterans that are there. Sometimes they'll start and they'll tell you stories of what happened to them when they were in service. And some of them are really funny, and some of them are very sad.
Oh, yeah. Like,
But it's a way for them to get that off their chest and share it.
like when we don't see a certain veteran, or even like we open up the kitchen even to their widows, or you know, if we don't see them for like 2 weeks, we call them. Hey, how are you? What's going on? And are you okay? Do you need anything? And they'll be like, oh, you know, well, I either had surgery or, you know, I was in the hospital. And so we do touch base to make sure that they're okay, because like you said, we know their routine. We know what time they're there, you know, we know what to expect from them when they get there. And a lot of the veterans now have been coming early, knowing that I'm there at like 8:30 in the morning, and they helped set up the hall, you know, and they take pride in that. And I like them to be involved as much as they can with what we're doing.
And even when there's special days, like the kitchen is open on a Wednesday. So Wednesday, Ash Wednesday, Father Rob came in and he did a little service there. He gave everyone ashes, and Dawn and her whole group, they decorated the tables with different color tablecloths and crosses and purple. It was very, very, very pretty. there's a different ambiance on certain days. And sometimes people will give gift cards, or they'll do a raffle and people will get gifts or gift cards or what have you. And it just, yeah, we have, who's that, the other man that comes in, and he does a crafting.
Oh, I don't remember his.
He paints.
Oh, Ray Audette and his
Yes,
wife.
him and his wife come in and they do a crafting. So you sign up if you want to go to the crafting class, and you have it right after the meal. And
it's
I've gone
always
a couple
free.
of times. Yep,
And
it's
it's al-
always free.
And I should say that it's not a financial thing. Not everybody goes because they financially need to go there. You know, it's a service that you're doing for these veterans, and some come for the camaraderie, and some come
Yep.
for many reasons. You have a room full of veterans, and some widows of veterans, all in that room from all different walks of life. But they all have one thing in common: they serve the United States of America, and it's just a beautiful service that you're providing here to the veterans in the city of Fall River, Dawn.
It gives you a humbleness when you see them. You know, you just look back and you see them all laughing and joking and talking, and it's really humble.
It is. I have the utmost respect for you because you are doing this out of your time, and this is, you know, not a one-day-a-week thing. You are working on this 7 days a week, and I really want to drive home, and you're going to make me cry. You get emotional over here.
Tearing
But
up.
you know, it is such a service that you're doing, and I feel. And I'm not an intimidated person, but when I go into that room of all of these veterans, I feel so humbled, and so that I'm in
do.
the presence of all of these heroes. And the way you are with them, Dawn, is so dignified, and they love you. And we are so grateful for you. I mean, many communities don't have anything like this. And, you know, I want people to know in the city of Fall River what we have, and what this woman has been able to accomplish. And if you're at home and you're watching this, we want you to come out to the Veterans Kitchen and meet Dawn, because she's emotional right now.
I am.
And
Because she really does a lot for the veterans, and she truly cares about the veterans that come in there. And she laughs and jokes with them, and then sometimes she acts like their mother and disciplines them on, you can't be eating that, you know you can't.
Yeah.
You know, you can't have that, you know that's not good for you.
A lot of them are diabetic.
Yeah, so she, you know, keeps an eye out for that. But she also has food to go, so somebody can come in and pick up a plate to go. When you talked about treating people with dignity, Laura, it's not a vet's kitchen where, you know, everybody goes up with their plate in a line. No, you sit at the table and you are served. And even, is it Liberty Utility?
Liberty Utilities,
They have
they actually, couple of them come in and, you know, they volunteer, because they have that type of program where they have certain volunteer hours, so we're very grateful for them.
So that's another part of the community, again, you know, coming together.
And then I just got a call from Nicole Dias from Home Depot, and they're actually every third Wednesday of the month going to have some volunteers as well come down and do
that's
some
amazing.
volunteering. Home Depot plays a big part
in what you're
in
doing.
what we do.
That absolutely is amazing. And I want people to see the true emotions that Dawn is having, because it really is what she's doing. And if you're at home and you always are thinking, you know, if you want to donate or give back to the community, this is one organization that you would want to do that for. I think Linda said a big part is that they really serve the veterans. They sit down like a restaurant style and serve these veterans, these men and women that served our country. Last week we heard from the gentleman from the DAV. We have a lot of veterans in this area.
We do.
And some of the oldest veterans organizations are right here in Fall River, and they're being serviced. And so it's just absolutely amazing. Can we talk about COVID for a minute? Did you shut
Yeah.
down absolutely in COVID?
No, we had to shut down for 2 weeks during COVID until we waited for the governor to figure out what the next step for any business was. So one of our actually it was Chef Rob, one of our chefs, said, hey, we can open up, for takeout and stuff like that. And I said, okay, let's do that. So our first meal as being a drive-through was Easter.
Wow.
We did all of our, he vacuum sealed all the ham and everything. We put tables out on Branch Street and blocked off some of the streets to make them one ways and everything. Sorry, Fall River PD, but we did do that. And just had a big drive-through service. In fact, that was the year that actually the Fall River Sidewinders actually helped with that as well. So I have to give them props because they did do that.
Yeah, they do.
They
And,
came and
did
helped
do
out.
that.
but
And
so many people want to help, and they're looking for ways to help.
And it
Dawn.
just didn't stop though from there, because one of the volunteers that actually helped me start the kitchen found about the Food for Vets that was getting done out in Foxborough, and she said, Dawn, we need to bring this here. And I said, well, how the heck are we going to do that? So that was when actually Trot Lee was still sitting on the council and everything. So I actually reached out to him. I said, I'm going to need some help with this to get, Food for Vets down here in Fall River, because our veterans are, a lot of them are elderly, they can't drive to Foxborough and wait in that big long line. And so he, made the contacts. They needed the approval from VSO at the time, which was Ray Haig. And we brought Food for Vets to the city of Fall River.
Wow.
We had to sign them up. It was my friend Dawn DaCosta, who was with me at the time. I would go running around taking pictures of people's DD-214s and signing them up through my phone just to make sure they had that spot in line to get their food.
Again, I want to say all volunteers. It's just absolutely amazing, and I want to continue to plug this organization because it's just unbelievable the work that goes on, and that you didn't close down during COVID. I mean, months the country was closed out, restaurants were closed down, but there you continue to service the veterans.
We just continue to grow. We have help from Donald J. Medeiros Insurance.
He's wonderful.
We have help from Rolling Thunder. Veterans Brotherhood is plays a big part. In fact, they just brought down all of our hams for our Easter luncheon.
That organization, the Brotherhood, Manny Cavallo, one of the veterans there, needed to move. He was moving from one location to another. They came down and moved him.
Yeah,
They
did.
moved him.
Wow.
They were actually at one of my luncheons, and Manny was saying, Dawn, I got the apartment. I said, well, I'm going to get you some muscle, So I said, will you guys be willing to help? And they didn't even hesitate to jump up and say, let's do this, In fact, they actually, they take very good care of him.
Oh.
They do. They take very good care of him.
No, there's so many volunteers that participate there. And that's one thing I love most about Fall River is that we are a community of volunteers. If we know somebody needs something, we're there to help.
Yeah.
That's one of my best things about this city.
That is such a true statement, Linda. I mean, people say what you want, but we take care of our own. We
do.
really do. We absolutely do. And this is a prime example of that you are running on volunteerism with your help, and you always seem to get it done. You have companies from outside of the city donating, like you said. I know Tempest Fisheries have come and
Tempest was a huge part. I'm so sad that Timmy, sold the business and retired. Glad that he's enjoying his retirement and stuff.
Oh,
but
wishing we had really good fish again.
we had, but
We did fish scallops. I mean,
oh yeah,
it was great.
but
And there's two chefs there.
real chefs.
Are real chefs.
Yes, and they
Certified
wear the
chefs.
chef clothing, like they're real
yeah,
chefs.
Chef Sandy actually used to own her own catering company. She owned, oh gosh, what was it? A gourmet quahog company, and Chef Rob actually went to
He had Adagio. He's part of the Adagios. Isn't that his father?
Yeah,
Had Adagios in New Bedford and Fall
his
River.
family owned some
Restaurants.
cafes and
Yeah.
everything, and I'm very fortunate for the volunteers that the
Yeah.
kitchen has. Very, very fortunate. Yeah, but I want to put it out there where people believe that we get state funds. We do not get state funds.
No.
We don't get city funds.
We're trying.
I
We
know,
try-
you're,
we
I know
actually
you're
made a
trying. I
resolution
know you're
We
trying.
get some ARPA money from
Yeah.
Bristol County, and if the council votes on it, you'll get more money to make sure that you are able to continue to do the things that you do.
You know-
And not only feeding people, that money will be for the maintenance for feeding. There was, a story out there that, we were getting that, Laura was putting in for that money to buy the building. That is the furthest thing from the truth.
That is
so I don't
not
know.
the truth
Where they came up with
whatsoever.
I don't know where they
That
come
would-
out
I
with
was
stuff.
like,
You know,
what?
But it was for food.
where we are,
foolish.
it's not free.
Yeah.
You know, we do have expenses. We have utility bills that we do pay. Not that we have coolers and stuff that do break down. We have to maintenance. We pay our own insurance, for everything that we need, our own liability and stuff. So, and everything that the funds that we do have are either donated or we do fundraisers. We have our annual golf tournament coming up June 24th.
Oh, wow.
And
You know,
that
we
brings in, that brings
that
in
get,
some
that
money.
does
helps
bring in
us.
some money. It does
That
help a
helps you.
lot.
How do you sign up for that? Not that anyone wants me golfing, but how?
It'll be posted very soon.
Okay. That's
But
posted
it's
soon.
not only the vet's kitchen and serving people and having great meals and great desserts. I must say,
Oh,
she
good.
does an awesome job. Very creative desserts. But
That's
having
Chef
the
Sandy's
clothing,
idea.
yeah, having the clothing and everything else, takeouts but then making sure planning a day and paying. Get a bunch of veterans together, go to Foxborough to see the lights, or go to
Yeah,
La
we did
Salette,
that.
or have an outing. That outing, they had steak at
Yes,
that outing.
we had steak. We had
on a
T-bone
grill,
steaks.
T-bone steaks on a grill, and it was at a great location. People could fish in the pond, and they were going to do a camp over.
We
Dawn
were
said,
gonna
we're
do
gonna
a
get
camp
tents
over."
and sleep
We
there
were,
and
and-
get cots, but
But what happened was we were able to get the tents, and all the veterans were like looking forward to it, but they couldn't get the cots. So I'm like, yeah, I don't think we're gonna all be sleeping on the ground.
Oh, no.
That's not a good idea. So we just made it as a big summer picnic with fishing and everything like that.
so there's
Absolutely love
always
it.
these additional things that go on, and just the camaraderie of
It's amazing.
and some of the veterans that are there, they'll hook up and do other things with veterans during the week. They become friends. They have a companion, and then when we have a veteran who maybe their spouse is to the point that maybe they need special care, all of the other veterans support that person in having to place a loved one in a care facility. They're very supportive of each other.
Yeah, they are.
And that's why she was
That's right.
crying.
And it is,
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
and then that's why I was so passionate the other night. I was very passionate on the floor the other night because you try to drive this home what this organization does. It's just absolutely amazing, and if people don't see it, they don't understand. Not that everything should be given to our veterans, but more and more and more. I don't think we do enough. We can't even do enough for them, but this organization, you bring people together. You are a hub of bringing all the veterans organizations together. Everybody can sit down and have a meal. Everybody can get together. It's not separate. So you're a hub. And I say this all the time. I'm a preacher's daughter. I grew up in the church, and breaking bread with people and feeding people is always essential to a lot of gatherings. And that's what you do, is that you are feeding people, and people come together at that moment from all different branches, all different veterans organizations, and they're there, and you service them in such a way.
Like I was at the council meeting when that proposal came up, and I was like, if these people would just come to the kitchen and see what we do, and and talk to our veterans, and there shouldn't be any type of vote to help service them. You know, these are our heroes.
Heroes. They are heroes. And you're a hero. You know,
Oh,
you
thank
really
you.
are, because
She is.
you are a hero, and you are an amazing person. You are just a Fall River girl like Linda and I, who is just, you are who you are. You can't be anything else. But in who you are, you have so much love and so much passion, and you give that to the people that served our country in the most amazing manner.
You're gonna make me cry
Yeah,
again.
well, I don't think
but you do.
you do, and
You
I
do
don't
an
think you
awesome job.
realize all of what it is that you do. It's far beyond feeding the veterans. You give them family.
And she'll always call for like different ideas. I want to do a Titanic dinner, she calls me. I said, a Titanic dinner? Yeah, we need to do it at the Eagles because they have the best ambiance for that, which they do.
great
They
idea.
do.
And
They really do.
You know, and we want to be able to have it where it's a gala of some sort, where you have to really dress to come and, you know, raise money as another.
Well, I think it was because I went to Nova Scotia,
Yeah.
and they had a Titanic museum there, and they had the menu there, and I'm taking pictures, and I was with a friend, and they're like, this is what we should do. We should do this as a fundraiser. And so I'm like, okay, when's the Titanic's anniversary? And I said, oh my God, it falls on a Friday. I said, this would have been a perfect, you know, thing
Well, the
to
Maritime
do.
Museum has the Titanic
replica, yeah.
replica
Yeah,
there.
I've been through the Maritime Museum. It is really nice.
I
It is
love
very
it.
nice.
I really think people should go and like
I
check it out.
agree
Those
with
who
you.
haven't.
We have a lot to see in Fall River, but we don't, because we live here, I don't think we appreciate all that we do have. That's why I push really hard for tourism. I keep pushing.
Plug it again, Linda.
Need a tourism director. I keep saying it, but oh no, I'm not in charge. I just have to keep my opinions out there.
Well, sorry, I'm not going to be a tourism director. I have enough on my plate.
No. That, we'd have to pay you. They
No,
don't pay,
I don't need to.
which I think you should get.
You should get
something
paid, and I
because-
should say that. I mean,
Yeah.
you are a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, 365-day-a-year organization, and you know, just that you don't take a compensation doesn't mean that you shouldn't. But I do love the fact that that it is run on volunteerism, and that makes me happy that our community still loves our veterans, and we see the importance in that, and they're not forgotten here.
And
Thanks
that's
to
one
you.
thing too. People are like, Dawn, you do such a great job. I'm like, no, it's not just me. I'm one person. I have a great team.
A team.
And if it wasn't for them, it wouldn't run.
Yeah.
It just
I mean, Billy
wouldn't run.
Damaris just managed to get a van, so now they have a van.
Yeah, we have
So
a van.
that's another volunteer helping out, bringing something else in.
Yeah.
And I think we're redoing it too.
Yeah, it's
so.
getting redone slowly but
Yeah,
surely.
we'll
It'll
get
be
there.
almost finished.
The
But
van
that's
is getting
finished.
redone.
The van.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, the van's
Okay.
getting
So
redone.
then we'll have a van to do things with.
I don't know where the
But-
time went. We have to wrap up soon, and we could talk to you for hours, Dawn, about
Good.
about what you do. Maybe we could go on a tour. Maybe we'll have it. Maybe we should have a show in the Vet's Kitchen at lunch one day.
That would be a
Le-
great idea.
And so people at home
And we
could
would
see
love
it.
for you to do that.
Let's do that. Let's do live.
Great idea. Let's
Live.
do a
All right,
live there.
We're going to do that one day. So thank you so much, Dawn, for coming in.
Thank you
Thank
for
you, Dawn.
having me.
It was our pleasure to have you.
And thank you for tuning in. Until next week.